Those relief and restoration efforts will run into the billions, says the president. Now, there are concerns that the flood relief funds will be looted. We've been hearing that this week. It's not inconceivable, given our track record with COVID-19, PPE, and even Nelson Mandela's memorial. The Public Protector and the Human Rights Commission say they are watching the distribution of aid. Well, let's just get some reaction to the announcement of those relief efforts and the national state of disaster. Wayne Duvenage from the organisation Undoing Tax Abuse joins us now. Wayne, thanks very much indeed for talking to us. Look, I mean, the president says it's going to run into the billions of rands, this one, Wayne. And, you know, we discovered, if we draw parallels to COVID-19, we discovered our COVID-19 case in March 2020. And I think what's surprising, if you use that as an example, just months later in July, we were already announcing measures to curb the corruption, to investigate or combat the corruption that we saw. It was just about 4 months later. So you can understand the backdrop when such huge efforts are announced. What's your take on the anxiety at the moment for the possibility of looting?
Yeah, look, we must, the track record speaks for itself, so we have every reason to be worried about how the funds are spent. And I think the president said it very clearly. What we need is transparency up front, not after the fact. And we hope that that is forthcoming. What is quite encouraging is that he seems to have moved the spending and the control of that away from the province to a national level. And this is good because when you hear organizations like the Auditor General, SANRAL getting their hands on the building of the roads and the road infrastructure again, and others, I think it does start to mitigate some of the loss of control that happens a lot easier at provincial level.
Yeah, I mean, on that point, Wayne, because he did mention that, and we heard this from Premier Zihle Zikalala on Sunday afternoon as well, when he mentioned a pre-audit being done by Treasury on a provincial level of all the work that needs to be done. He then brings in the monitoring institutions, and you've mentioned one of them, the Auditor General as well. This, you say, is a shift from the past of way things were done?
Yeah, I think so, because we saw a lot of the PPE procurement that was happening at provincial level, a lot of it taking place in Gauteng, where the plundering took place. So definitely some, moves in the right direction, as well as the appointment of the Solidarity Fund to manage these funds. That was a good message, a loud and clear message that came through. In fact, if I heard him correctly, the president's suggesting that government's funds will be channeled through the Solidarity Fund, as well as business and civil society and other donations made. And that we feel a lot more comfortable with because the controls are a lot stronger there. The assurance that the right organizations with the right qualifications and the right costs are applied to the infrastructure rebuilding. And this is the biggest concern, is the infrastructure rebuilding now, how long that takes. We've seen how long Charlotte Macleay Hospital has taken just to restore that hospital from the fire, over a year. We can't wait for a year for the water infrastructure, the roads, the bridges to be rebuilt. This needs to happen quite quickly with all the professionalism and the quality of work that is required so that it is long-lasting.
And I think that's a very important point, Wayne, because you have the potential for looting on one end, but on the other end, you also have the competency and the capacity level of governments producing work that will meet the urgency of the work that needs to be done. So this needs to be done quickly and with skills that are very much needed. What's your take? Do you think that we can meet some of the deadlines here? The president says 40,000 displaced people. We're going to need homes for them, and that project needs to start at least by the end of this week. What's the competency and skill level, you think, on a government level to sort of pan out this task?
Well, it hasn't covered itself with much glory in the past. I think, first of all, they identified where these houses will be built. A lot of them were built below the high water mark now. They can't be rebuilt where they were. And it's going to take some time. So there's going to have to be a two-phased approach, temporary housing, while more permanent housing structures are going to have to be built. But it is that infrastructure, the water leaks, the pipes, the culverts, the bridges, the roads, to get traffic going again is going to be quite critical in that area. As we know, the port is important for our economy. And I think that's where the work is. Our biggest concern, though, is at a regional level where money every day is allocated to provinces, and this is misspent. We see this in our road infrastructure that is crumbling across the country, hampering our delivery of services. We really cannot have that happen. So I think this is a great opportunity for government to show the people of this country that it can do its work that is expected of it in times of need like this. It needs to redeem itself after COVID and the misspending there. And let's hope they get it right, because there are elections coming, and this is a very important time for us. We have no more money to waste.
Yeah, and finally, Wayne, I mean, I suppose it will all start with what the President says is a sitting of Parliament that he's requested for next week. And I suppose the transparency you're talking about may unfold when all the members of Parliament in different strata of our political sphere gets involved in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And they need to, with sincerity, to get the job done as quickly as possible without any political interference.
Wayne Duvenage from the organisation Undoing Tax Abuse, thanks very much indeed for chatting to us.